A while back, not terribly long ago, Matthew Colville made a video about dreams. Dreams are very fascinating and a very interesting tool in the DM's toolbox. The most common instance, of course, is patrons. I mentioned this in my patron video, because it allows direct flow of information to the player and through cryptic and interesting ways, because dreams can be shaped however you'd like. This can also be other gods, not just patrons. But again, if it is more of a god, you might want to sort of have an explanation or not do it as often, because dreams are a device you want to use, not abuse. One instance that I used a dream, which is an interesting device, was with a character who kind of forgot or didn't know all of their backstory. So when they reached, certain things that evoke that memory, they would have a dream the next night, sort of piecing that together, sort of an image through their own eyes of their past, which allows it for mystery to be uncovered. Now, Matthew Colville talked about dreams as prophetic, and that is a certain possibility because, again, mystery of figuring it out. But the danger of that, of course, is that you might misinterpret the prophecy. It might remove player agency. There's a lot of potential issues with making something prophetic. If it's the past, there's a lot less of this risk, because you are creating a mystery and you are creating images to be interpreted. You're doing all the same things, but it's not going to remove agency. It's not going to lead to misinterpreting isn't going to lead to a big downfall, but it's going to be a constant reminder for the player to delve into that past through these dreams, because dreams are one way for the DM to subtly say, I want you to do this, or don't forget about this part. Again, sticking to that prophetic thing, but not exactly prophecy. Like, one example is one of my players received a special item, and it was one of these crystals. And there was a number of these crystals scattered all around, and other people in possession of these crystals. There was a divination property to them. And so with his crystal, in his dreams, sometimes he would see through another wielder of a different crystal to get this glimpse into that. Again, mystery to be interpreted, following those same guidelines. You're getting just a glimpse of this other area, this other person, and it's something to work backwards, figure out where this place is, figure out who this person is, and that, I think, can be, again, another way not only to remind them to go look for these crystals, but it's compelling because of that mystery, I think. A different way to use dreams, for example, in Curse of Strahd, there is, if you don't know everything about Curse of Strahd, you may, or plan on playing it, you may not want to have some of this spoiled, but essentially, there are these dream pastries that when you eat, they have good dreams, and then if you could basically get addicted, and if you don't get the dream pastries, you end up having nightmares. You can, again, show these nightmares as a way to simply scare your players and sort of evoke a sense of fear, which is great because you get to have things like, it's not necessarily plot relevant, but the player gets to learn more about themselves with these nightmares. Like, you could have the player confront their greatest fear if there is a discordance within the party. The player can and you don't have a way to resolve or confront that. The player can do so by confronting themselves and their own anxieties. And that sounds very surreal and whatnot. It doesn't have to be, but it's a way to turn something that would not only just be a normal nightmare and turn it into something which could potentially lead to growth with a player, or not only that, but also lead to conflict. They have a vision that could lead to paranoia. And again, if you've been doing other things with dreams, they may ask, is there a purpose to this? And it may lead to sort of this, I mean, you have to be careful because you don't want to make them disappointed if it's not true, but it could lead to this interesting paranoia of, I saw one of my friends die. Does that mean, like, that is, or is that just simply the greatest fear? And what are the repercussions of that? Again, you have to be very careful with that, but it is one option for dreams. The nightmares could lead even to more interesting things, like, for example, in the case of the dream pastries, the people solving them have this mysterious past. Through one of the nightmares, all the players had this shared vision where they saw part of that past through the perspective of the people who had pastries. And again, it doesn't make a lot of complete sense within the context of everything, but during that session, getting a character sheet of someone else and fully investing yourself in this dream is crazy. And that's one thing. Dreams don't have to be passive. With the Stormlord trial, actually, I don't think that was a dream, but it could definitely be like that Stormlord trial in Critical Role. Not only because it's just one player, just Yasha, but all the other players are playing the enemies when they fight, which is really interesting and allows them to engage in this dream even though they're not participatory, and it makes it fun for everyone. They want to keep doing them. Not only that, but dreams can have combats in them. They can have you can be given other character sheets. You can do things that you normally couldn't in the normal world, and it allows you to they get to maybe they have a dream where there is some powerful archmage that get to try out new spells, and they have different rules and ways to solve problems in the dreams. And I oftentimes think the dreams shouldn't be passive. They get to explore, say it is, again, just a vision where they're seeing through someone else's eyes. Maybe they are instead alongside them, like in the second Harry Potter, where he's in the Tom Riddle's story, right? And he kind of gets to follow around with him. He could follow Tom Riddle, but maybe he wants to follow young Dumbledore instead. And so you sort of have this this agency that allows them to explore what parts of the mysteries they think are important. And overall, while dreams, seem to be oftentimes a passive experience, they definitely don't have to be. Well, what do we take away from this? There's a lot. One, dreams can be anything. They can be cryptic, they can be relating to the real life, they can be related to the past, they can be the future, they can be related to nothing at all, but have some purpose. They should always have a purpose. They can be passive, they can be active, they should be active, they can involve the other players in unique ways, they can allow the players to experience things they wouldn't normally be able to. They allow plot threads to be reminded and continued. They allow characters to grow. They allow stories to grow more complex and interesting. Dreams are a medium which is hard to decide when or how much to use it. I definitely don't think it should be used too much. But if you're not using dreams and it fits, go ahead and use it, because not all players utilize it, and I think it is a real valuable and interesting element of the DM's toolbox. So as a conclusion, dreams are fun, especially for the DM, but make sure they're fun for the players too. This is Sean from Dodeca Dungeon, signing off.